Welcome to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King, and we are back again to bring you all the sports and current events news stories that you need to know. Folks, we are T-minus 24 hours to the kickoff of the N.B.A. season. It surely is a good time to be a sports fan. We have the football season in full swing. The World Series is coming up. Hockey, yes, hockey is underway. And then tomorrow, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, I'm not sure the specific time we have the first game, but the NBA season will commence. And folks like myself are of the mind that it could be the best NBA season in the last 20 years. Facts on facts on facts on facts. This year, the amount of teams that have a legitimate chance to win the championship, it's, up to 10 teams. That might be a little bit liberal, but there's certainly 6, 7, 8 teams that could take the NBA title. And, I'm of the mind that that number could go into the double digits, as this campaign gets underway. So, the hooper in me and the basketball world, universe, solar systems, people that love that. I mean, it's basically Christmas, 2 months early. Exciting stuff. And so, just wonderful. Start the show with that and those sentiments. Nonetheless, we are only in October, so the basketball coverage has to be modified, curtailed, take a back seat to what is, of course, king in the land of sports during the fall and winter seasons. And, of course, I'm talking about football. We had another great week, of competition. Right now, I'm here at the outstanding Cape Cod Media Center in Dennis, Massachusetts. As always, being helped and supported, encouraged, and really pushed further and further along the way by the staff and resources here at the Media Center. But I bring that up because I can understand if it's a quiet night here in Dennis, Massachusetts, because the Patriots are certainly playing Monday Night Football, and that's obviously where all the tension is focused right now, and rightfully so. They have a primetime matchup against an upstart New York Jets team. We will conclude with that narrative, with that storyline. We have to begin, of course, with what happened yesterday, another game in primetime, Sunday night game of the week with the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. A little bit redundant. I've used that quote before, Tale of Two Cities. But that really summed up the backdrop for the Dallas Cowboys in their matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles. Never mind the fact that this is a rivalry situation. These two teams have history, have dare I say, a bit of animosity. In these divisional battles, you hear these pro athletes talk about, and, really, if you play sports at a high level, you kind of understand this. The records, you can throw them out the window. If this is a divisional game and the Cowboys and Eagles is just known, I mean, the NFC, it's just that conference, that division, and AFC North as well, and but even though in this circumstance both teams were 3-3, Cowboys having lost 3 straight, Eagles I believe started off 1-2 and righted the ship. Listening to the commentary today, The Eagles' record 3-3. People, pointed out if they had executed down the stretch up to this point of the season, they could have easily been 5-1 or 4-2. But nonetheless, two teams that straight up don't like each other got together last night in Big D. All right, Dallas, America's team, Jerry World, and it just had all of the pre-game hype that a matchup like this is deserving of. Top of the list, Doug Peterson, Eagles coach. Last week after the Eagles, got a big and important win to get themselves to 500, came out and proclaimed that they was going to go on the road the next week and get the W in Dallas. Not that this, situation needed any more energy, any more fuel to fan the flame, but that in and of itself took on a life of its own and just made this, something where, everyone was interested in anticipating what was going to happen. All right. So what did happen? I'm at a loss for words in terms of the buzz, the phrase, but Dallas stomped them. Dallas, from the beginning of the game, came out, turned the ball over, got a fumble, ran it back in for the touchdown. Next possession, Lawrence coming around the edge, strips Wentz, another touchdown. They go up 2 scores early, and that just set the tone. Final score 37-10. Dallas Cowboys, big statement in this victory over the Eagles. Look, I done touched on the rivalry aspect of this matchup. We have to look at and highlight, and this is what, the narrative that has been going on. This was not just two teams who have history and tradition. This was two players in Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz whose competition mirrors that of the two franchises. What Dak Prescott did last night, you have to, whether or not, and I've been on the record on this show, not a huge fan or believer in Dak Prescott. I think he's a good quarterback. Don't think he's anywhere near elite. Talking about the Patrick Mahomes and the Tom Brady's and the Russell Wilsons and the Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely not. Him playing in Dallas certainly magnifies his prominence, his significance in the sports landscape. The fact of the matter is this. What I saw last night from Dak Prescott, I don't see how more of us aren't. Now listen, Skip Bayless and his Cowboys love and how he gets down, that is of a certain, variety in and of itself. We don't all have to love the Cowboys where Skip Bayless loves the Cowboys. We don't all have to, to be these super hyped up Cowboys fans that are just known from coast to coast. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? And even though all those things are absolutely splendid, and make the game of football and everything that much better. The enthusiasm of the Cowboys Nation is wonderful. But what I'm getting at is Dak Prescott is an individual who rolls with the punches. That's a man who has ridden the wave, has been on top, okay, when the Cowboys are riding high, had that 13-3 season, and so on and forth, and he's also been close to the bottom, and this season has just mirrored that. Starting off 3-0, talk about $40 million contract, one side of the coin. Lose the next 3 games, culminating with a loss to the lowly, winless New York Jets, other side of the coin. And so for him as a leader, that is the word that I've been hearing over and over today in relation to Dak Prescott, and it's just true. It's the quality that stands out the most when I think about Dak, along with his win total, which in his time during the NFL is up there with Mr. Tom Brady. But this is a man who stands tall, doesn't make excuses, and has been getting the job done since he stepped foot in the NFL. Undeniable. Now, he plays the most prestigious position in all of sports, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, okay, soccer, biggest sport globally. All right, fine. America, our footprint certainly much larger than most, and football is the biggest sport in this country, so that's how I'm viewing it. We can debate back and forth. It's neither here nor there. Extremely impressed, and I have to just respect how he gets the job done. That, it's one of these things, when you're at that high level, again, we see it and understand it in Titletown here. People love to hate winners, dynasties, standard bearers, excellence. It's just something you have to take on. Again, I've said it, heavy weighs the crown on the head of the king. In relation to Dak Prescott, he is going to be lionized, really propped up on the highest of pedestals when things are going well for the Cowboys. Again, because of their fan base, which I've alluded to, and frankly, the respect and tradition of the organization. They've had decades of success. But at the same time, what we don't always factor in, when things aren't going well, those individuals in those type of situations, the quarterback of the Cowboys, if you are a star of a team like the New York Yankees, who we will get to, if you're a Tom Brady, this dynastic type of individual, is that, big markets, high stakes, you are going to find yourself, either on the highest of highest mountains, or just absolutely positively buried under, waves and waves and waves of hot lava. One or the other. All right? How Dak has just been a captain of captains on that treacherous terrain in those high seas, it just, for me, that is noteworthy. Remarkable might be an exaggeration, but he clearly deserves a contract, deserves to get his money. Whatever Carson Wentz has gotten, Dak deserves more, all right, because his record against the Eagles, one-sided, and you just look at both of these individuals, they both have good teams, equal record. I mean, obviously the Cowboys are at home, but that aside, what you saw, it was just night and day. And back to Doug Peterson and his prediction, he came up, he was talking the talk, but, team, it's just, as a coach, you have to roll the dice sometimes, and you take chances, you take risks. So I can't fault him too much for that. And trying to light a fire and galvanize his team. It fell absolutely positively 100% flat, and they were outclassed on every single level. And this could be something that torpedoes their season. And that's the kind of the narrative today. In conclusion, with this lead-off story, One of these two teams is definitely not making the playoffs. That's a fact. All right, Cowboys 4-3, Eagles 3-4. You know, both of these teams' only chance to make the playoffs will be in winning the NFC East, based on the strength of the NFC conference overall. The Eagles have essentially two games against the Redskins and the Dolphins that heavily favor them. You know, with football, you never know. And only 16 games, but the high drama that takes place, you know, within that season and then going forward into the playoffs, down the playoffs, you know, home field advantage, so on and forth. But, you know, you really cannot tell from year to year. My point to connect to that is Dolphins putting Fitzmagic at the helm, you know, a team that people, you know, they're tanking and, you know, couldn't beat a college team, high school, you know, elite high school varsity team. You know, it's too far, but a college team. You know, they could have easily got that W yesterday against a very good Bills team. But again, the Eagles, they have those two games, Dolphins, Redskins, that favor them, whereas the Cowboys in their last 9 games, they close out with the Redskins. Their next 8 games, we're talking about the Vikings, we're talking about the Patriots, we're talking about the Seahawks, we're talking about the Lions. You got to face off against the Eagles in the rubber match in Philly. They just have 8 straight challenging games, and it's what makes the NFL great, the #1 sports league for a reason. And you are really going to, this Cowboys team has the pieces, but the competition is just so fierce. It's going to be intriguing every single week to see these matchups and to see what teams qualify for the second season, which will be a completely, absolutely distinct and divergent journey in and of itself. You know, the home field advantage will loom large, as we know. You know, in Titletown, Patriots playing in the AFC least. That has allowed them to get that first round bye and home field advantage, and has a lot to do, you know, with their 9 Super Bowls and 6 Super Bowl victories. All right. Nonetheless, you know, the ferocity of that competition means that home field can be thrown out the window. Okay, when you're looking at how battle-tested these teams will enter into the playoffs. Next, has to be recognized. Many people believe, myself included, this is the best team in all of football. What the New Orleans Saints did yesterday not only absolutely positively torpedoed my fantasy team, my arch rival, Mr. Jay Valente. You know, this was rivalry week, you know, in my fantasy league. You know, we have side bets, you know, wagers, you know, tremendous pride on the line week in and week out. Just the level of disdain and disgust that I have. First, just losing. And then where am I going with this? You know, my arch nemesis, again, Mr. Jay Valente. Okay, you know, had Michael Thomas, you know, and the running back for New Orleans, whose name will get on the screen. It wasn't Kamara, all right? I had a chance to come back. Have Le'Veon going today and Crowder going today. Kyler didn't get it done yesterday, understandably. You know, there was tough conditions. And the Cardinals, who, by the way, have won 3 in a row. And we're going to touch on the success under fire of Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, which is tremendous, you know, and much credit there in terms of what the young man is doing and showing. We will touch on that, all right? But where am I going with this, people? And then this rant over the last 5 minutes, it might seem like a little bit of gibberish, okay? Arch nemesis had Michael Thomas and the Saints' #2 running back. I thought very little of it. Thought it could be neutralized. Why? Because they were playing the Chicago Bears, unquestionably the #1 defense in all the NFL, in Soldier Field, in Chicago. So I'm saying to myself, okay, you know, this obviously not a great matchup. You know, they're not going to score very many points. Bears favored in that circumstance. Backup quarterback, so on and forth. Trubisky had been playing better. All right, I'm going to have a chance with Le'Veon and Crowder going today, you know, to win here in rivalry week. You know how it worked out for your boy. All right? Doggone Seattle. Can't even pronounce the name. The New Orleans Saints went off under all of those circumstances. Never mind the fact that I wasn't even aware at the time. They didn't have arguably their second, third, who knows, Alvin Kamara being out. They just going in there, scored 35, 36 points. We'll get that final score for you on the board, but it was stunning. Absolutely. We knew the Saints had a good defense, and they could slow down Trubisky, who's had his problems since he stepped foot in the NFL. Never mind the shadow that looms large over him being drafted above Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. He scored some points. They mid-20s, again, that score will be there for you, but what the Saints were able to do, minus key pieces, their starting quarterback in Breeze, no Kamara, and to just go in there and dominate the Chicago Bears on the road in Soldier. The Saints, listen, made it clear. They're complaining about what happened last year in the NFC Championship game. Had no time for that. The Saints had plenty of chances after that missed call to win the game. Numerous chances to win the game. We touched on this with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Same thing with the Saints and the Rams. Okay? You make your own luck. All right? Favorite movies of all time, Rounders. All right? John Turturro, Matt Damon, John Malkovich, Ed Norton. All right, but listen. John Turturro's character, let me get the name, Joey Knish. All right, remember that movie, one of my favorites. Makes it clear. Such to Matt Damon's character. We'll get that for you on the screen. It's lose my mind. I'm thinking Good Will Hunting. So many movies and roles from Matt Damon. By the way, he's got a very good movie coming out. We're looking forward to it. About cars. Ford versus something. We'll get that for you on the screen. Another Matt Damon project that's going to be highly successful. All right, not just because he's a local guy, Boston guy. Has the background in literature, in film from a very young age, but he does it for the right reasons. Contributes to many causes, so on and forth. My point being here, Rounders, Joey Knish, all right, he says to the young man, all right, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself when you're out there, basically no bread in your pockets, hurting because you took, you put yourself in that. Don't come to me looking for this juice loan to bail you out. You did it to yourself. Saints, last year, NFC Championship game versus the Rams, nobody made Drew Brees throw that awful interception in OT. All right? Nobody told the Rams to let the nobody told the Saints to let the Rams charge all the way down the field to kick that field goal to go into overtime. You had the chances, all right? So, understanding of the misery that the people, and the fans feel, recognize that 100%. But, that's my rebuttal to all of that. This year, this team on a mission. And that's what I'd like to see in terms of responding to the significant adversity. What they have shown and produced without an all-time great quarterback, Sean Payton, all this Belichick, this, that, and the third. Many people do not put nearly enough respect on Sean Payton's name, and he has shown you absolutely why. Top team, a favorite. Now, who knows what's going to happen? They will have, well, who knows? NFC is so fierce right now, they may or may not have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But when they are healthy at 100%, they will most certainly be a favorite. And this signature, remarkable, again, we have to leave the remarkable adjective for, the very rare instances that it deserves. But that it was something that will be discussed, when we look at this NFL season and how it played out, week to week, quarter, phase through phase. This was something, that will be highlighted. Continuing on, look, I feel like the NFC is the equivalent of the Western Conference in basketball. That's how I'm looking at, you have teams, the Saints, excuse me. Let me get my squads right. Quick time check. Woo! We're making it do what it do. These first couple segments, I've gotten going. It's all good and well. The 49ers, undefeated. The Seahawks, lost at home to a good Ravens team, but still up there. Aaron Rodgers, 6-touchdown game yesterday. Already mentioned the Cowboys, the Vikings, and how they have bounced back since Kirk Cousins took that accountability and put the weight on himself. Did what they did yesterday, get that final score up for you on the screen without Thielen, who was out. Their three-headed monster, or triumvirate, or whatever you want to call it in terms of Kirk Cousins, it's at least a fantastic four. I'm mistaken. Okay, because we have Dalvin Cook, we have Thielen, we have Diggs, and then we have Kirk Cousins playing like he knows how to play. I don't know the Bears. There's going to be, you're going to have 2 or 3 teams that do not make the playoffs in the NFC that, had they made the playoffs, could have gotten on a roll and won the entire thing. Over to the AFC, and again, we don't want to, because again, this is football, and you have teams that are showing. You have teams, it might not necessarily have it has nothing to do with star power, frankly. Let me throw that. This is not the NBA, this is not basketball, so forget star power, because the San Francisco 49ers have 0 star power, and they're undefeated. And they're winning in a good and the right way, as we saw the enthusiasm that was displayed yesterday in Washington. But in the AFC, forget about it. This Colts team can beat anybody. Jacoby Brissett, respect to that man. Noted today, we haven't heard Andrew Luck's name since he retired, immediately, unceremoniously. I wouldn't say unceremoniously. He was treated unceremoniously by the fans of Indianapolis because of the shock of it all, but that narrative, has been consigned to the dust heap, and isn't even a twinkle in many people's eye because of how this team, which was what we knew was well built going into the season, has performed. Again, back to the indispensable leadership of Jacoby Brissett. Houston Texans, dangerous, and can knock anybody out. Obviously, Patriots this, Patriots that, Patriots the third. We will see. I think this is going to be a battle of the game tonight. They definitely are undermanned offensively, and will that allow them to run the tables? We don't know. Chiefs dealing with injuries. Obviously, Patty Mahomes going to be out for a time. Tyreek Hill just getting his, getting back into shape, getting back into the groove. The team AFC has not performed as well as the NFC, but nonetheless, you have those headlines. It kind of mirrors the NBA, where I'm going right now for the final segment of the show. Look, this NBA season will be special. Point, period, end of story. We do not know. Obviously, you don't know things that have not happened, so let's not, that's just clear. My point is this. Is this the beginning of a new era of greatness for LeBron James? Or is that shining star that has been his NBA career beginning to fade into the background? It can go one of two ways. And it's going to go one of these ways swiftly, quick, fast, and in a hurry. This Lakers team is loaded. They, many teams can win, but you can make the Lakers the favorite if you want to. If that makes you feel better. They're a big marquee franchise, all that stuff. You want to make them the favorites, because it sells tickets and, creates interest, fine. But they're playing the Clippers tomorrow, and they can easily catch a 20-piece. When they play the Houston Rockets, revamped Houston Rockets, that were successful with an aging Chris Paul, and now have an absolute dynamo in Russell Westbrook, okay? They can take a 20-piece. When they play the Utah Jazz, who have possibly the best and most underappreciated coach in all of the NBA in Quinn Snyder, in terms of how this team has performed under his leadership in the Western Conference, with or without all-star players who may have come to Boston, okay, to take their careers, play for their coach and play on a super team that, ran its course, and now, we're expecting big things from this team of blue-collar, hard-working guys. Jeff Van Gundy today on Stephen A. Smith's show, was of a mindset that I am of. This Celtics team will be surprising people, all right? And respect to the process. Jaylen Brown got the money that he deserved today, 4 years, $150 million, okay? Because this group, Kemba, Jaylen, Tatum, and Hayward, will be a force for the next 3 and 4 years in the Eastern Conference under the leadership of Brad Stevens, who's going to get his mind right, play his guys, forget the YMCA rotation. And these rookies that they have are tough. Carson Edwards, we haven't seen much from Romeo Langford. He has the most upside of all of them, I believe, in Taco Fall. I think he's going to be a serviceable NBA player. Grant Williams, they have drafted exceedingly well. These guys will get the opportunity early on to play behind that front four, that big four. I don't know about big four, but the 4 core guys. Enes Kanter coming in here, wanting to work. This team, they don't have necessarily the overall talent of a Philadelphia who's loaded. Picking up Al, the work that Elton Brand has done there, second to none. All right, and Milwaukee with Giannis, battle-tested. Losing Brogdon does hurt. Okay, we're looking for guys like Pat Connaughton to step up, to fill those shoes. Indiana picking up Brogdon, getting Oladipo back with Sabonis and Miles Turner. Do not sleep on them under the leadership of Nate McMillan. They will be a fierce out east or west. Folks, that's going to do it. Go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe as you feel the need. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. We want to thank you for tuning in to SandCity Sports. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you, and we will see you here back again the next time.
Yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to retake ourselves. So yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to embrace ourselves. Yeah.